a big star for what, 3 decades now. but for you, it's all new, isn't it? It's a completely new experience.
It is. It's completely new. I mean, I guess I done a teen drama in London. And I didn't really have subtlety in my sort of vocabulary. I was playing a sort of goofball, you know, character that was a bit of comic relief. And I knew in this, I remember Danny telling me in one of the first auditions that if you're going to play a lead, it's not a show, you know. You're not here to show do a little show for someone. It's not a firework display. You have to, the audience has to be one with you. They have to enter you. And when you feel like crying, they should want to emote that with you, and to be still so they can enter you. So I guess I kept that in my mind all the way through. And I mean, working with actors like these, I mean, of their caliber, you know, they've been doing films before I even tasted my first script. So they sort of set the atmosphere on the set before I entered it. And I mean, I just had to walk in and just go along with the flow, really.
Okay. Well, I have a feeling that 3 decades from now, if I'm still around, I'll still be interviewing you with an even bigger hit. The question is over me, Dave, not over you. But are you ready for the Slumdog debate? Because we've had it on our channel and there's been a huge debate over it. Let's cut the chase, therefore, and let me ask you first, Danny. The argument can be put against you that you've used every possible visual hyperbole, from garbage dumps, you know, to riots, to extreme poverty, to literally a shithole, and Bollywood as well. That's the setting of your film. Not taking away from the movie itself. Was this deliberate?
The city, it was my first time in Mumbai. The city is a miasma of detail, of extraordinary detail, of life lived at the extremes. And that's what we wanted to capture, as much of that as possible. And it's very rare for a filmmaker to come across a city like that, where you see life lived at the edges, and lived with a vibrancy, with a kind of almost breathtaking resilience, really, despite what's thrown at them. Now, if you want to have, we were talking earlier about a feel-good movie, if you want to have a feel-good ending, you've got to earn it. It's not good just, in my mind, you've got to earn it. And therefore, you put your audience, your characters, through tough situations. Because if they're going to earn the hero title, which he earns in the end in some way, then he's got to have gone through a lot to get there. You know, there's got to be a rites of passage. And for him, it's obviously his background, some of the things that happen to some of the characters in his background. Well, and you have to see that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's, you know, when you make a film, you're making it, don't get me wrong, Danny, and I didn't mean this by saying you have an agenda to expose India's poverty to the world. You know, that's not what I meant. The point is, I want a response from you to the kind of reviews that we are seeing here. Can I read out one of the reviews? I hope, Irrfan, it provokes you and Anil, because this is at both of you. 2 Indian stars. Okay, this is Alice Miles in the Times, London Times, and she says, I'm reading only one paragraph. Yet the film is vile. Unlike other Boyle films like Trainspotting or Shallow Grave, which also revel in a fantastical comic violence, Slumdog Millionaire is about children. And it is set not in the West but in the slums of the third world. And the film revels in the violence, degradation and horror. It invites you as a Westerner to enjoy it too. Will they find it such fun in Mumbai? And she goes on to say much more, including the use of the phrase, you may have heard this, poverty porn, is how this has been described. You want to take that first, Anil?
Yeah.
Because you referred to it some time back. Because she says, I find myself wincing in my seat. There's horrible violence. Small girls are turned into prostitutes. Mothers die in front of their sons horribly. Small boys are beggars. She describes it as sadistic. Eyes being burnt out with acid, etc., etc. And she said all this documentation, she implies, is deliberate, that it has been done deliberately.
No, I don't think so. It's been done deliberately, because you see, first of all, this film is based on a book written by Vikas Roop, Q&A, who's an Indian diplomat. And you know, and it's not a documentary, it's a fairy tale, it's a feature film which Danny has, you know, and we all have been part of it. And you know what is so, what I feel is, what I said earlier also, in Mumbai, what is, you know, and I feel somewhere we are the kind of people who are never very defensive. People actually, in the media, you know, and to a certain extent, in a certain class, they are slightly defensive about the reality. But the fact is, if you go down there, you know, they are very, very happy. And so we don't have to be defensive about it. And if she feels what you know, whoever's written the review, and that's her opinion, obviously, and she has a privilege to say that. And you know, it depends on the, you know, how she's viewing it.
You're saying she's looking at it through Western eyes rather than through Mumbai's eyes.
Mumbai's eyes, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
You think so? Well, the other argument is, Irrfan, and I'll come back to the movie.
What is her objection?
Her objection, Irrfan, it appears like the objection of many, is that this is a deliberate image. All these starving children, a Dickensian story, you know, children roaming around in chaos. She's implying that you mutilated the reality to suit you and to suit a Western audience. That seems to be what I read out of it. So perhaps you want to come.
So if it exists, and if a film reflects that, what does film do? You know, when we went to National School of Drama, we were taught what drama means. You know, we were taught that it's a reflection of the society. You know, it's a very broad kind of a definition. You know, very cliched definition, but that's what it does. But sometimes you get chance to be in films which can, you know, without being too deliberate, without having an agenda, it reflects, because that's what their culture is. That's how they have been making films. You know, they've been realistic to the situation. They are making it more credible. And the film is not about poverty. It's about, you know, it's about human spirit. So the backdrop is supposed to be, you know, slum and all the darkness. And if it's there, and if it reflects in a film, what's wrong?